Hola mi gente bella, hello my beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. It is I, your girl Alejandra. First of all, let me go ahead and say Happy New Year. We are officially in the year of 2023. I am so glad that 2022 is over, and I am super excited to see what the new year has in store for myself and for all my lovely, beautiful people that are out there. So if you are new to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so excited for you guys to see what I've got in store for 2023. And if you have been watching me since the beginning of my journey, thank you so much for continuing to support my vision and my growth as a solo esthetician / brand new business owner. So if you are ready for this video and you are as excited as me to show you guys what I've been working on, obviously, as you can tell by the decor, I have redone my studio a little bit more and I am so excited for you guys to see it. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys a little clip of how it looks all around. It is so beautiful. I actually have been wanting to do the below since I saw it in Kristen Marie's studio. She actually has two videos. She put up her ceiling fabric. So if you feel like you need a little bit more support with this video and her video, when I was Googling to see if I could find other videos, not a lot came up. So I'm actually pretty excited that I was able to record the process of me putting up this ceiling fabric because it was not easy. I mean, Kristen made it look so easy. The other video that I saw made it look so easy. But honestly, I can say if you are going to be putting up a ceiling fabric like this one, be ready to have lots of patience and be ready to improvise. Make moves as it goes. So if you are ready to take a look on how I created the ceiling fabric, go ahead and grab your pen and paper because this might help you out. Got your pen and paper, so let's go ahead and write down what materials you are going to need in order to create this ceiling fabric. So the first thing that you're going to need is you're going to need the twisted mason line, which looks like this, and you can actually order it on Amazon or go to Joann's Fabric and they'll have it there. The next thing you're going to need is you're going to need eye hooks. These are a little bit big, but I got them because my eye hooks didn't come in on time. So something like this, but a little bit smaller will help. So gonna need some J hooks, and these J hooks were a little bit big, so you can find smaller ones as well, but I figured they were white and they will blend in with these. I wouldn't recommend Amazon because I didn't have a good experience. There is a specific size, so you can either go to your Home Depot, you can even go to Walmart. I have a Walmart across my studio and that's where I found these. So Walmart, I'm sure Target has some. So just make sure that they're a little bit smaller so they kind of blend in and hide nicely. And obviously you're going to need your measuring tape to measure your walls. You're gonna need a hammer if you can, just to kind of tap in the J hooks and the eye hooks so then you can screw them in. Another thing you're gonna need is double-sided fabric tape, and you can order this on Amazon. I am sure Joann Fabrics has this as well. Another thing you're gonna need is going to be safety pins. And last and not least, you're obviously going to need your fabric. So based on my experience in the first clip, as I'm putting in the first panel of fabric, that is actually not this fabric. So I went back and I had to return the other fabric that I did get because it actually had a seam. I ended up returning that panel and I'm super duper glad that I did, because then I got the chance to go visit a wholesale store that actually sold me this fabric for way cheaper. So each yard is about 3 feet and each yard costs maybe $10 to $15 at a regular store like Joann's Fabrics, versus having to go to a wholesale store where they're $3-4 the most a yard. So very, very inexpensive. I was able to actually get all 4 panels under $100. First thing before you even go buy the fabric is you want to make sure that you measure your walls, and depending on how the structure of your room is, you want to make sure that you're getting all of the walls. So sometimes I know some places they either have a corner cut off, one wall is a little bit longer than the other. So just make sure that you know exactly the measurements if there is different lengths of walls. Fortunately for my room, it's a pretty even square room, so I didn't have to really think really like, oh, which wall am I measuring or how I'm gonna measure it, I measured this long wall and then I measured that long wall because I was going to insert my strings this way, which is horizontal, and I was going to insert the fabric vertical. Keep that in mind also, depending on how you want your billows to be facing. Either you want them this way or you want them this way. So my room, this wall is 184 inches and this wall against this side is 142 inches. So what I just did is, because again I wanted my strings to go this way, this back wall is 184 inches, so I just divided by 4 because I wanted 4 panels, and then ultimately that gave me about 46 inches. Each panel should be, or each eye hook should be separated by 46 inches. So make sure that you measure it and then divide it. So if you want 2 panels, just 2 billows, then obviously you're only gonna divide it by 2. If you want 3 billows, you divide it by 3. If you want 4, you divide it by 4. If you want 5, you divide it by 5. And that's gonna give you the amount of space that you should be placing your strings, aka your eye hooks. So once you install your eye hooks, you're gonna make sure that your eye hooks are nice and tight in there too. And then now you can go ahead and install your twisted mason line. So your twisted mason line is going to be a little bit tricky because it really needs to go as tight as possible. And what I found with this mason line was that if you kind of pull it and then tug it and undo it, like tighten it and then undo it because you didn't do it as tight, eventually the twisted mason line is going to untwist. So do try to get it as tight as you can. If it's not as tight as you want it to be, don't worry. This is why we like to use the J hooks, because the J hooks are going to help keep that string nice and high and tight with the weight of the fabric. So once the fabric goes in, you'll kind of know where to put these as well. So don't worry too much of like, try to get it as tight as you can. And so once you've placed your lines, depending on how you want the billows to be, again, if you want your billows to look horizontal, then your line has to go vertical. If you want your billows to look vertical, then you need to put your line horizontal. And you're gonna go ahead and place the fabric. I'm going to give you a tip. Get how much extra fabric should I get? Because you're ultimately going to cut the ends, but you do want extra fabric so you can create the billows. I am going to say if your room measures 4 feet, for example, get an additional 2 to 2.5 extra yards, so that way it can actually go down and you're not wasting as many. I know some people do up to 3 extra yards, 4 extra yards. That I did get was 8 yards, and I felt like it was way too long and I was going to be wasting so much fabric. So this last time that I did get this fabric, I only went 6 feet. It was a little bit short, but my sister and I made it work because I told myself I'm gonna make it work. So that's when the safety pins can come in handy. If you feel like you don't want to waste so much fabric afterwards, then what you can do is safety pin the fabric onto the mason line. Kind of like pinch it and hold it, or you can even do what I did, because I was like, I don't know how my sister is doing it. I would just grab a little bit of the fabric and then just kind of place it like that. Wasn't probably the safest, but at least it held it onto the line so I can create the billows and then put it on the other side, if that makes sense. Otherwise, you're welcome to get as much extra fabric as you want. That was just my example. So if you want to get 2 to 3 extra yards just to be safe, then that's ultimately where you're heading. I wouldn't do more than 3 yards. You're gonna waste a lot of more fabric. Extra yard set aside from the yard that you can get. For example, I have a 15 feet length wall, so I needed about 5 yards and I got 6, which made it really short and tight, but I made it work. So then you're gonna go ahead and place your fabric through. Once you place your fabric through, which is gonna go straight on top of the line, it doesn't have to go under or over. It can just go straight through, and then you can step back all the way back. You wanna make sure that you're open your door if you have to, look from the outside so you can see how low you want those billows. Also keep in mind, if you are using J hooks in between the line, like here, then probably your billow will get a little tighter. So making sure that you place these J hooks as you're going and moving them too if they don't work. Sometimes it makes it flat, so you can move them, place them around, and see how the billows look before cutting the ends of your fabric. This is going to be the funnest part ever. Not the funnest part when it happened, but once you cut the fabric, once you're cutting the ends of the fabric. In Kristen's video and the other video that I saw, I believe they rolled and they used the double-sided tape to kind of roll and tuck the fabric in. My sister and I were kind of done and was just getting so frustrated. I was like, I know what she means, but I just can't tuck and roll. Like I couldn't. Thank God, this is why I love my sister. Thank you to her, because she was like, why don't we just flip it underneath and then just throw the fabric up, like the fabric goes underneath the string instead of being on top. And then we just flip the fabric and use the double-sided tape to hold the fabric down. So like a sandwich, so inside out. So the string is basically like this, and the fabric was laying on top of it, and I was supposed to tuck the fabric underneath like this, but that didn't work. So what she did was place it underneath the string and then just flipped it, place a tape, and it's holding like this. So that worked out. She also went around, and so wherever she had the safety pins, so in order for them to not really show, she went and flipped them inside out, if that makes sense. So instead of holding the line like this, she just flipped it because she was gonna flip the fabric underneath, and so it's holding it on top, and then the fabric was gonna go. So then she flipped it back. We are holding it with tape and safety pins, and then what you can also go do is grab a strainer or any heating device and then kind of press and melt that tape into the fabric, and this will give it a little bit more of a secure. It really does work. This truly melts really beautifully. I am going to go ahead and show you a few clips of me putting in the billow. The first video, my lovely high school friend came and helped me put in the hooks and measure my walls, because I just have a hard time with that measuring thing. I had my sister come in and help me out. So if you are looking to get the ceiling done, do anticipate having maybe a full day or 2 days, because sometimes after a while, like if you've been in here 3-4 hours, you start getting a little frustrated. So if you can break it down into 2 days, so you work like maybe 4 hours one day and another 3-4 hours the next day, then that kind of makes it a little bit more better, because then the frustration is not so heavy.
All right guys, so here I am with my friend Frank. He is helping me measure the wall, make sure that I have the appropriate measurements. I don't know why I needed help with this. I feel like sometimes I have some blonde moments, so I needed to make sure I had a second opinion before I started making holes in the wall. I guess I just have a little anxiety with that. And here I am just placing the eye hooks all around the room. It is very tedious because they are so tiny and you need to get them as close to the edge as you can. And here I am just placing my mason line, and I am making sure that it's nice and tight. It is a little bit tedious as well, again, because the mason line does come undone if you mess up. As I mentioned in the video, here I am placing the original panel that I first bought from Joann's Fabric. As you can tell on this video, this fabric was super heavy, so it actually worked out that I was able to return it and get a new one. So I will be back with another video to show you guys what happens next.
Hey guys, I'm here by myself this time. My friend was able to come in and help me install the eye hooks and do the measurements, because I think that's where I was kind of getting lost. He helped me up with that, and I actually took down the other fabric that I originally had placed over the line. The other fabric that I had placed, it felt like it was a little bit too heavy. Another thing is that maybe I didn't tighten up the line too tight, so I'm gonna go ahead and re-tighten the line. I was able to return the other fabric. It actually didn't work out. So right now I'm gonna go ahead and try to tighten up this line, place the fabric on my own and see if I can do this on my own or if I need to go ahead and bring someone else to help me with that. So wish me luck, guys.
So as I mentioned previously, I am just going back and retightening the mason line, making sure that it's nice and tight before I place the new fabric in. So here's my attempt trying to place the first panel in. I was not able to do this by myself because of the length of the fabric. So if you want to do this by yourself, you could. You just need to get extra long fabric.
I don't think I'm able to do this by myself. So I'm back today. I am going to actually get my sister to join me because I don't know if you can see. So I was able to put some of the fabric up by myself yesterday, but I'm having a hard time with the ends. I did go a little short on the amount of fabric that I was getting just because I was thinking that's too wasteful. I got 6 feet and I'm thinking that maybe 6.5 would allow the fabric to go down low enough on the edges so I can actually put it all the way through and do my billows without having the fabric come out. So for today, I'm gonna have my sister assist me with just figuring out how to hold that in so I can do the billows correctly and then eventually do the other end. So wish me luck, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and record this as soon as my sister gets here.
So shout out to my sister for rescuing the day. I think I needed her brain. That's why I called her, because I knew she would figure out a way. She always does. She's super amazing. So we're here just hanging the panels, and we are putting safety pins to hold the ends so that way we can place the panels through. And as you can tell, I was helping her hold them down because they will slide off eventually. So here we're just figuring out where to place the the J hooks, and I'm going around just doing my handiwork, and I'm just joking. And this is where I lost my patience because I was not able to figure out how to roll and tuck and put the tape in between the sheet, how Kristen had suggested in her video. So my sister said, why don't we go ahead and flip the fabric, put it underneath the string, and just put a piece of tape on top. So this is what she did. She tucked it underneath the string, put the tape, and then just flipped it over like a hot dog. So my sister basically just went all around the whole studio and was cutting the fabric piece by piece and making sure that she was flipping it over and also switching over the safety pins so they wouldn't be visible. So honestly, shout out to my sister, because if it wasn't for her, I don't think this would have happened. Definitely, it takes a lot of patience and potentially a couple of brains just to put it all together, but it was so worth it, and I really loved how it all turned out.
With that being said, mi gente, I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you are going to create this ceiling fabric look in your studio, make sure that you tag me in it. Make sure that you share your trials and tribulations, because I feel like I saw the other videos and I was like, it looks super easy, but once you're doing it, the little tedious things come into play and you're like, why did I sign up for this? Why? So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you find it helpful. Let me know down in the comments if you have any questions, if some of my stuff didn't make sense. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoy the new look at the Glow Up Factory. And again, I can't wait to see what 2023 has in store for us. And until further notice, mi gente, peace and love.